today you'll be receiving from a message full of God's power to help you become everything that God has created you to be. You know, God sent his son, Jesus, to die for you to have a life of abundance and for you to be an ambassador for him. What does that mean? That your life should represent his goodness. It's time to be about it. Tune in today's message and you'll be blessed.
Actually, I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 26. Now, here in verse 31, I'm going to start with, Jesus, this is the Last Supper before he's going to the cross. I want to show you two different heart intents. Let me prove this to you from the word of the Lord. Heart intents. I wanted to walk in. I wanted to walk in health. Heart intents. Verse 31 says, "Then Jesus saith unto him, he said, all of you shall be offended because of me tonight. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I'm risen again, I will go before you into Galilee." And Peter, hearing this, Jesus is saying to him, all of you all are going to be offended with me before the night is over. And Peter said unto him, though every man shall be offended because of you, I will never be offended with you. Because Peter loved Jesus. He loved Jesus. He's saying, you know what? You ever have somebody that just got your back and you know that they got your back? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, we ride or die. I'm going to be there with you. If everybody go against us, I'm going to be there with you. I feel that way about my husband. You attack my husband, you attacking me. I feel that much more about my son. You see a little bitty guy, and if you see him standing by himself and Satan try and tempt you to do something, know that there's a lion standing behind him. Me. Don't you try it. This is the kind of love I believe Peter had for Jesus. He's saying, I know that's what you think. You think everybody's going to turn their back. But guess what? It's not going to be me. Jesus replied to him. He said, hey, verily, before the night is over, you're going to deny me 3 times. And Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. So this is Peter's heart. This is his intent. He's followed Jesus. He's walked with Jesus. He's been used by Jesus. He's been a part of these miracles. He's had his own miracles of conversion, and now Jesus is getting ready Jesus is having this Last Supper. He's about to go through, and he's saying, I'm going to stick with you to the end. And if that means that they're going to put me up on that cross with you, I'm going to be there. We going out together. That's his heart. That's what he really and truly believed. That's what he believed that he was going to do. But if you look over at verse 69, I'm not going to read it for sake of time. You'll see, if you read for those of you taking notes, from verses 69 through 75, you'll see that before that night was over, Peter did deny Jesus 3 times. And after the 3rd time he denied Jesus, the cock crowed, and he remembered what Jesus said. Before the cock crows, before the night's over, you'll deny me 3 times. And Peter wept bitterly. Now let's take a look at Jesus' heart intent. In verse 41, after they got to the Garden of Gethsemane, verse 39, he went a little further and he fell on his face and he prayed, saying, oh, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. So here Jesus knows that he's getting ready to have to die on the cross. He knew what the purpose was. He knew what the goal was. He knew what the intent was. He knew what the purpose was. But his flesh was saying something differently, something completely different. Verse 40 says, and he cometh unto the disciples, and he findeth them asleep. And he said unto Peter, what? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation, because the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And then verse 42, he went away again the 2nd time, and he did this again after that, and he prayed the same thing. He said, oh, my Father, if this cup may pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. If you keep reading, you'll know, and you know the story of this, and is that Jesus willingly did the will of the Father, and it pleased the Lord to bruise him so that we could walk in the power and the grace and the anointing, that burden removing, yoke destroying power of God, that we don't have to be sick, broke, busted, and disgusted. But I want you to see where Jesus' flesh could have flared up. Verse 52, then Jesus said unto them, put up again thy sword into his place, because they had drawn their swords out. And I think Jesus is just like, y'all need y'all swords. For all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. He says, don't you think that I could just pray to my Father right now, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? So what's he saying? He's saying, you know what? At any point in time, I can open my mouth and ask my Father to send some angels to whoop y'all tail and save my life. That I don't have to go through this for you ungrateful people. But his heart's intent was to do the will of the Father. So here you have one person who their heart was clear, Peter, but he failed. And then you had his heart intent of Jesus, and he succeeded. What was the difference? Intensity. When they got to the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus made a decision. You know, they had just got finished eating. They left the Last Supper. How many of y'all know about that itis, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Everybody know about, y'all know what I'm talking about on the internet, the itis. And after you have a good meal, what comes after that? Good recliner, good nap. But there had to be a decision made when they got to that Garden of Gethsemane. If you read through that story, Jesus said, and I've already read some of it, he made a decision. I'm sure he wanted to sleep as well. He could have said, let me get me my last sleep because I know what's about to happen. Let me get in this garden and let me rest right here and let me do whatever. But he made the decision to be intense about fulfilling what God wanted him to do, his part. For him to do his part, he prayed even despite the feelings. Whereas when he came back and he found Peter, he found him sleeping. And he said, y'all couldn't even pray an hour. What does that represent? Intensity. 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 That's the difference. That's the difference from you receiving all that God has for you. Are you willing to go get it?
I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I want to invite you to subscribe as well as visit our website at michelleferguson.org. We have some materials there that can help you as you walk through life, live the life that God created for you. As always, I'm Michelle Ferguson, helping you to discover, develop, and celebrate who God has created you to be. See you next time.